So when Eva died, I believe it was November 1952, we were able to continue sending signals on this communications device out to space.
Communications with the Ebens continued for almost a decade, and the intelligence teams involved received communications in return. This evolved into a top-secret program reported by researchers as Project Serpo, in which the United
Sit back, relax, and enjoy this new content, and let's re-engage together.
States government organized an exchange program with the extraterrestrial beings that crashed in the desert near Roswell, New Mexico. While the exact number of participants has never been agreed upon by researchers, the report suggests that anywhere between 3 to 12 specially trained military personnel traveled to a planet in the Zeta Reticuli star system.
Let me bring you up to speed if you don't know what's going on. Right now, we getting into this Project Crystal Night, but it's AKA also called Project Serpo, right? And this was an exchange between our government and the United States of America and extraterrestrials from a whole nother star constellation. I believe it's the Zeta Reticuli star constellation with these grays that they call Ebens. And yeah, it was a whole exchange program. I believe 10 of us went over there, 10 of them stayed here for about maybe like 10 years or something like that. And it was a whole situation, but let's dive in.
Called Serpo, over 39 light years away, in an exchange program between humans and the Ebens.
We were getting messages back within hours. So it was determined by our scientists that these messages weren't coming from Zeta Reticuli 38 light years away. They were coming a lot closer, and they were pinpointing that they were probably out near Neptune or maybe Jupiter. So we were able to crudely offer an exchange program.
Here we go, we diving in. Check it out.
In 2005, an anonymous source sent a series of emails to a UFO discussion group led by former U.S. government employee Victor Martinez. Project Serpo is an alleged top-secret exchange program between the United States government and an alien planet called Serpo in the Zeta Reticuli star system. Zeta Reticuli is a wide binary star system in the southern constellation of Reticulum. From the southern hemisphere, the pair can be seen with the naked eye as a double star in very dark skies. These emails detailed the existence of an exchange program between the U.S. government and the Ebens, alien beings from Serpo, a planet from the Zeta Reticuli star system. The program was thus called Project Serpo. The source identified himself as a retired employee of the government, claiming he had participated in a special program. The program's origins lay with the two UFO crashes in New Mexico in 1947, the famous Roswell incident, and another one in Corona, California. He claimed one extraterrestrial survived the crash and was transferred to the Los Alamos National Laboratory. The other 6 deceased extraterrestrials were placed in a freezing facility in the same laboratory. Establishing communications with the scientists and military personnel, the survivor provided them with the location of its home planet and continued to cooperate until its death in 1952. The alien provided information regarding the items found inside the crashed UFOs. One of the items was a communication device that it was allowed to use.
I think that Eben was a little smart in trying to create a diversion so he can contact his people and get up out of here. But they figured it out.
Contacting its home planet. A meeting was set for April 1964 when an alien craft landed near Alamogordo, New Mexico. Upon retrieving the bodies of their dead comrades, the extraterrestrials engaged in an information exchange that was carried out in English, thanks to the alien's translation device. One thing led to another, and in 1965, the aliens accepted to take a group of humans back to their planet as part of the exchange program. 12 military personnel were carefully selected for a 10-year stay on Serpo. The 10 men and 2 women were specialists in various fields, and their task was to gather as much information as possible regarding all aspects of life, society, and technology on the alien planet. They were 3 years late and 4 people short when they finally returned in 1978. 2 men had died on the alien planet. 1 man and 1 woman had decided to stay. The journey to Serpo, located 37 light years from Earth, took only 9 months aboard the alien craft. They had learned that
that craft must have been going really, really, really fast.
Serpo was a planet similar to our own, albeit smaller. It orbited around a binary star system and had an atmosphere similar in composition to the one on Earth. However, the two suns meant there were higher levels of radiation, and the 12 humans had to resort to protection at all times. 2 of them died from complications. The heat was extreme, and it took the remaining humans several years to adjust. Another problem was the food. The crew had taken enough food to last them for 2.5 years, but...
Yeah, they said that food was like really hard to digest. I couldn't even imagine like being on another planet and have to eat their food and adjust to their, menu, because I can't even adjust to these humans' menu.
But eventually had to resort to eating native ebon food. Anyone who's traveled abroad knows about the...
What do you mean anyone who travels abroad? How many people actually went 20 light years away, gang?
Serious gastrointestinal implications posed by eating local food, but the human crew eventually adjusted. Another problem was the length of the day on Serpo, which was 43 Earth hours long. Also, it never got fully dark as their night skies were dimly lit by the smaller sun. The crew had complete freedom to explore the alien planet, and they were not hindered in any way. The geology of the alien world was different. There were few mountains and no oceans. Several types of plant-like life existed, but mostly near the polar area, where it was cooler. There were also types of animal life, and some of the larger ones were used by ebons for work and other tasks, but never as food sources. They produced their food through industrial processes, of which they had many. The inhabitants of Serpo lived in small communities led by a large city. They lacked a central government, but seemed to be doing fine without it. The ebons had leadership and an army, but the Earth team noticed they never used weapons of any type, and violence was virtually unheard of. They had no concept of money or commerce. Every ebon was issued items in accordance with their needs. The planet's population was about 650,000 individuals. The human crew noted the ebons were disciplined in all aspects of their lives, working on schedules based on the movements of their suns. There were no other civilizations on Serpo except the ebons. Their method of reproduction was similar to our own, but it had a much lower success rate. Therefore, their children were highly isolated. In fact, the only problem the human crew had was when they intended to photograph ebon children.
Yeah, that bugs me out right there. Why they felt some type of way about their kids being pictures when we were supposed to go there and retrieve all the information that we could retrieve? That's what I'm saying. It's kind of bugged out. They had some type of hidden agenda. I mean, you gotta think that. Why would you not think that these aliens who left behind some of their own kind don't have a hidden agenda? I truly believe they do. Get in my comment section and let me know if you think these Greys or Ebens had an ulterior motive by doing this exchange program. Most people know it as Project Serpo, but it's also been nicknamed Project Crystal Night. Let's get into it.
They were escorted away by the army and asked not to attempt that again. Upon returning to Earth, the remaining 8 members of the expedition were quarantined for a year. During this period, they were debriefed, and the complete account amassed around 3,000 pages. All members of the expedition have since died from various complications due...
See, that's what I'm talking about. Every time you do something for humanity, you'll be at risk
to radiation exposure. The fate of the 2 people who chose to remain on Serpo is unknown.
Wow, so 2 people stayed behind? That's crazy. I did not know that one. I did not know that we had 2 people that actually stood behind and, dealt with that. That's crazy. That's really mind-boggling. I wonder exactly. I mean, I hope they safe. I hope they still alive. But they probably are, because they living outside of their own time expansion. But they must have been really fascinated to want to stay behind on an alien planet. What do you think?
The ebons have not contacted Earth since 1985.
That's crazy.
About what you know about Project Serpo.
Well, Project Serpo actually is Project Crystal Night. In 2005, I was in a funeral in Washington, D.C. when a colonel came to me and said, "Rick, what do you know about Project Crystal Night?" And I said, "I don't think I've ever heard of it. What is it?" And he told me it was an exchange program between the Ebens, the craft that crashed in 1947, and us and our astronauts. I said, "No, I've never heard of that, but I'd be interested in knowing more about it." So we went into another room, after where we left the funeral parlor, we had a reception. We went into another room at a hotel, and he told me about it. And I said, boy, that doesn't sound right. I mean, I certainly wasn't around back in the 50s or 60s, but what happened? And he went on to tell me that when the Eben craft crashed at Roswell, they found it. They had an energy device in there. And we knew that energy device because we still have that energy device. But
did you see how big his eyes got when he mentioned that energy device? Check it out.
The Eben 1 told us there was a communications device in the craft.
That's what I'm saying. That Gray tried to stay a step ahead of his military. But I think he found out very fast how they was trying to infiltrate him and his whole plot and everything that they got going on. That's a fact.
And the communications device could help him notify his home planet to come get him, come help me out. And so over a period of about 10 years, it took the U.S. government to create and manufacture communication system that could send signals to this Serpo, which was the name of the planet U.S. government named.
So that might not even be their name because the government gave them that name. But just imagine what type of technology they got if they blasting off messages 20 light years away, gang. Just imagine who else they spoke to.
In Zeta Reticuli star system, some 39.5 light years away.
God damn, I thought it was 25. He said 40 light years away.
And we did it. We notified him, and there was a progress or a project to learn the Eben language. Now, Eben 1 started us on that. It was a very difficult language because it was tones. It was a very difficult language to learn, but he wrote down his alphabet, so we at least had his alphabet.
Wait a minute. So you mean to tell me extraterrestrials who speak in tones have an alphabet? That's kind of mind-boggling to me, because if they speak in a tone, would you consider that a language still? Like, that kind of bothers me. Like, how could... So then that means rap is a language? Because it's a tone. This is what he's saying. He's saying they spoke with a tone. So I'm trying to figure out, how does that resonate into alphabets? You know what I'm saying?
Alphabet. All the symbols in his alphabet. But we, as a pretty intelligent group of people, figured it out. And we were able to communicate with the other planet. Now, this is what this colonel is telling me.
In 2005, an anonymous source sent a series of emails to a UFO discussion group led by former U.S. government employee Victor Martinez. These emails detailed the existence of an exchange.
That may be the alphabet the way it looked right there. What's that? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. That may be it. That's like a little bit more than the alphabet letters, but yeah, that might be the alphabet right there.
Exchange program between the U.S. government and the Ebens, alien beings from Serpo, a planet from the Zeta Reticuli star system. The program was thus called Project Serpo. The source identified himself as a retired government employee, claiming he had participated in a special program. The program's origins lay with the 2 UFO crashes in New Mexico in 1947, the famous Roswell incident, and another one in Corona, California. He claimed 1 extraterrestrial survived the crash and was transferred to the Los Alamos National Laboratory. The other 6 deceased extraterrestrials were placed in a freezing facility in the same laboratory, establishing communications with the scientists and military personnel. The survivor provided them with the location of its home planet and continued to cooperate until it died in 1952. The alien provided information regarding the items found inside the crashed UFOs. One of the items was a communication device that it was allowed to use, contacting its home planet.
Look at that.
A meeting was set for April 1964, when an alien craft landed near Alamogordo, New Mexico. Upon retrieving the bodies of their dead comrades, the extraterrestrials engaged in an information exchange that was carried out in English, thanks to the aliens' translation device. One thing led to another, and in 1965, the aliens agreed to take a group of humans back to their planet as part of the exchange program. 12 military personnel were carefully selected for a 10-year stay on Serpo. The 10 men and 2 women were specialists in various fields, and their task was to gather as much information as possible regarding all aspects of life, society, and technology on the alien planet. They were 3 years late and 4 people short when they finally returned in 1978. 2 men had died on the alien planet. 1 man and 1 woman had decided to stay.
See, the funny thing about it is they not giving us any information that they brung back. Like, we're looking for some insights. That's what we need. We need some insights. Hold on, man. We need some insights, because it's like they not telling us what they brought back. They just keep explaining to us about the project. You understand what I'm saying? They not really telling us no real detrimental information that we could, like, cash in on. That's a fact. Let me ask my pal. Let me see. Because this right here is not making sense. Hey, Esteban, I'm looking at Project Serpo, aka Project Crystal Night, and I'm trying to figure out, can you explain to me any technology that they brought back with them, or any information that they brought back with them from this trip?
Project Serpo, also known as Project Crystal Night in some accounts, is an alleged top-secret exchange program between the US government and an alien race from the Zeta Reticuli star system, supposedly taking place between the 1960s and 1970s. According to the story, a group of humans traveled to the aliens' home planet, Serpo, and returned years later with advanced technology and knowledge. While there are no official documents to substantiate these claims, the lore suggests that the Serpo team brought back information on advanced energy systems, medical technologies, and even details on the alien culture and biology. However, it's worth noting that these stories are considered by many to be speculative and without solid evidence. So, take them with a grain of salt.
Gotcha. Alright, so Esteban just laid it down to us. Let's continue.
The journey to Serpo, located 37 light years from Earth, took only 9 months aboard the alien craft. They had learned that Serpo was a planet similar to our own, albeit smaller. It orbited around a binary star system and had an atmosphere similar in composition to the one on Earth. However, the 2 suns meant there were higher levels of radiation, and the 12 humans had to resort to protection at all times. 2 of them died from complications. The heat was extreme, and it took the remaining humans several years to adjust. Another problem was the food. The crew had taken enough food to last them for...
But that's what I'm saying. I feel like it was a setup, because they know they was going for 10 years, right? But they only brought 2.5 years worth of food. Something's not adding up here, gang. I think that they was trying to set them up and probably getting them to retrieve and send back the information while they dead them and do some funny shit. Because you already know all these classified, when these become declassified, it's a problem.
2.5 years, but eventually had to resort to eating native Ebon food. Anyone who's traveled abroad knows about the serious gastrointestinal implications posed by eating local food, but the human crew eventually adjusted. Another problem was length of the day on Serpo, which was 43 Earth hours long. Also, it never got fully dark, as their night skies were dimly lit by the smaller sun.
Could you imagine being somewhere where it never gets dark? Could you imagine that? It seemed like fun now that we actually get dark on our planet, but I don't think it's fun.
The crew had complete freedom to explore the alien planet, and they were not hindered in any way. The geology of the alien world...
It just crossed my mind. I just thought about, like, if they was able to run free, right? And they literally have no issues where they was running around at. They must have gathered and retrieved so much information. So much information. Like, and my brain can't even fathom to even think about the type of information they probably retrieved. Hey, Esteban, can you give me an example of some of the technology or information that they brought back from Serpo? Like, can you give me some more detailed?
Sure. The accounts surrounding Project Serpo mention a few specific examples of technology and information. Energy devices. The team supposedly brought back compact energy devices capable of generating large amounts of power, allegedly using principles of zero-point energy. These devices were said to be far more efficient than any contemporary Earth technology. Medical advancements. The exchange program supposedly included sharing advanced medical techniques and technologies, potentially revolutionizing our understanding of human biology and treatment methods. This included techniques for cellular regeneration and curing diseases. 3. Alien biology and culture. Detailed reports on the physiology of the Zeta Reticuli beings, their societal structures, and their way of life were allegedly part of the information exchanged. This included their language, educational methods, and social norms. Remember, the Project Serpo story is widely regarded as a piece of modern mythology or conspiracy theory, with no concrete evidence to support its claims. It's a fascinating tale, but should be approached with skepticism.
Yeah, and I'm definitely highly skeptic because it's just too much of a story. Like, and we all know that you need the truth in order to lie. So I see where they're going with this. Hold on for a second, Esteban.
The world was different. There were few mountains and no oceans. Several types of plant-like life existed, but mostly near the polar area, where it was cooler. There were also types of animal life, and some of the larger ones were used by Ebens for work and other tasks, but never as food sources. They produced their food through industrial processes, of which they had many. The inhabitants of Serpo lived in small communities led by a large city. They lacked a central government, but seemed to be doing fine without it. The Ebens had leadership and an army, but the Earth team noticed they never used weapons of any type, and violence was virtually unheard of. They had no concept of money or commerce. Every Eben was issued items to their needs. The planet's population was about 650,000 individuals. The human crew noted the Ebens were disciplined in all aspects of their lives, working on schedules based on the movements of...
It's funny he said that because every time they capture these Ebens, they always break down the Ebens on exactly how they work together with each other. And they don't, they're not into the dogma like we are. You understand what I'm saying? So I kind of get what he's saying.
Their sons. There were no other civilizations on Serpo except the Ebens. Their method of reproduction was similar to our own, but it had a much...
Yeah, and that's the thing. They definitely evolved past the point of killing each other and, creating genocide. Like us, we still like animals. We still kill each other. We still kill our own kind. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Much lower success rate. Therefore, their children were highly isolated. The only problem the human crew had was when they intended to photograph Eben's children. They were...
Now that's crazy. Hold on. Hey, Esteban, on their planet of Serpo, did they have female and male plants that basically, produce the way ours do on this planet?
The stories about Project Serpo don't go into much detail about the specifics of the flora on the alien planet. The accounts mainly focus on the exchange program, the alien beings, and the technology and cultural information shared. However, given that Serpo is depicted as having an ecosystem capable of supporting life, it wouldn't be far-fetched to imagine some form of plant life existing there. Whether they have male and female plants similar to Earth's, though, isn't specified in the law.
All right.
Were escorted away by the army and asked not to attempt that again. Upon returning to Earth, the remaining 8 members of the expedition were quarantined for a year. During this period, they were debriefed, and the complete account amassed around 3,000 pages. All members of the expedition...
That's a lot of information, y'all. 3,000 pages? That was a lot of information. And we have to dive in. Let me see something. Hey Esteban, they said that the people when they was debriefed that came back from Serpo, it was 8 out of the 12 left. He said that they was debriefed and came up with like 3,000 pages. Do we have anything from those 3,000 pages in our mainframe that you can scan and pull up?
The debriefing documents from the alleged Project Serpo mission, which are said to be around 3,000 pages long, are part of the lore surrounding the project. However, there are no verified or publicly available documents from this debriefing that can be referenced or scanned. The story of Project Serpo, including these extensive debriefing reports, is widely regarded as a modern myth or conspiracy theory, with no substantial evidence to support its authenticity.
You heard my boy.
Expedition have since died from various complications due to radiation exposure. The fate of the 2 people who chose to remain on Serpo is unknown. The Evans have not contacted Earth since 1985.
Oh wow! New movie. This is the best.
Now this
movie
looked
for
crazy right here. I ain't gonna
2024.
lie. I'm trying to find out what movie this is.
Oh
What's the
my
name
god!
of this shit? I'm trying to figure out if that's just the head or if that's the body underneath it and they got it like restrained.
Yes. Changing into what? Can you run a stem line into the locus coeruleus? I think we can trick the nervous system into thinking it's still alive.
Wow!
30 amps. Okay.
They gonna trick the
No
nervous
more.
Oh
system.
my god!
Let me make an incision. Okay.
Shit went in like butter. That shit went in his head like she stuck it in a cake.
Wow!
Okay, 40 up. Did you see that? Yes. Yep, see? Go up another 10.
Oh my god!
Okay, up 10.
Oh!
She's 10. Okay, then 10. Down another 20. Hang up.
Wow!
But his eyes start opening. That was crazy. I don't know if this is a base.
El Proyecto Serpo, un intercambio entre humanos y extraterrestres. El 16 de julio de 1965, una nave espacial extraterrestre aterrizó en una base secreta en el estado de Nevada, conocida hoy como Área 51. 10 hombres y 2 mujeres fueron seleccionados para embarcarse en una misión histórica, nada menos que viajar al planeta de los seres extraterrestres que...
I always like to look at these pictures because we always keep we got us a UFO map here, gang. Alright? We got all the crafts, the way they look, you know what I'm saying? The common shapes, the movements and maneuvers. You know what I mean? I want to try to check that out. I try to keep this handy for us when we do our work. You know what I'm saying? That way we know exactly what crafts is what.
que visitan constantemente la Tierra. Te invito a que me acompañes en esta increíble historia. El proyecto Serpo. Nosotros somos.
Conspirativo 10.
En el marco de la Guerra Fría, en una época cargada de secretos y espionaje, surgió uno de los proyectos más misteriosos y asombrosos de la historia contemporánea. Proyecto.
The U.S. made contact with aliens in the 1950s and actually was able to speak with it. Amongst the documents released by the U.S. government in the past few days, it was revealed that in the early 40s and 50s, the United States recovered a living alien in a crashed spacecraft. This alien was non-human, yet able to communicate with us as if it understood English. The alien communicated that its name was Eve. The alien was transported to Los Alamos, where it was able to live out the rest of its life in secret amongst the small staff within the base. Eve died in 1952, but during the time period he was with us, he told us a plethora of information about what his species had learned about the universe and what their technology is. The government estimated their technology to be close to 50,000 years more advanced.
Now the funny thing is, they knew about the 0 point energy because the Eben supposedly had put us on to that. But as you see, they still not trying to let it go, B. They are trying to milk this cow, gang.
Advanced than ours. But eBay was not alone. He left us with one piece of information that has shocked scientists. One of his final communications was that he did come alone, and many of them have adapted into our community. So maybe that woman on the plane wasn't so wrong? We will have a full video on her soon, so follow for more of the strange...
Yeah, we heard about that lady on the plane.
Rather quickly, he informed his keepers that he was from a planet called Serpo, about 40 light years away in the Zeta Reticuli system. EB-E1 tried several times to contact his home planet, using the salvaged communication system from the space vehicle. But after every try, the communication system failed.
But they never said it failed. This is why we got to pay attention to the storyline, gang. Pay attention.
Early 1952, EB-E1 sadly passed away without ever contacting his home planet. His effort was not rewarded, though, because later in 1952, the military made contact with the alien race known as Ebens, who lived on the planet Serpo, and communications transpired over the next 9 years. During this time, an exchange program between the inhabitants of the two planets was created. 12 American astronauts, 10 men and 2 women, were selected for.
They found the entrance to Atlantis. Take a look at this. This is the gates to Atlantis, the underground world. And
I don't know if this is Atlantis, but it's some staircase look like it's going down and maybe into some cold water. What you think?
this is like where the mer people live and like the gods and stuff. This is Atlantis entrance.
Rays are not aliens. They're mutated humans from a parallel version of Earth that destroyed their version of Earth to the point where they had to go underground. They mutated.
At first, I thought this guy was actually dropping something, but now I'm thinking he's like Cap, because he's talking this alternate universe and all that, and we clearly seen that they went 20, 30, 40 light years away to where they at. It wasn't an alternate reality. It took 9 of our months to get there, gang.
Their eyes got bigger to see in the dark and all this kind of stuff, but they had to mutate to survive. They tried cloning themselves to save their civilization, and that didn't work. Over generations, things started failing. They knew that they were basically in the process of dying.
See, this is where they lose me at. This is where I'm getting a little gaffled at, because if these beings is 50,000 years ahead of us, how they can't do cloning yet? If you're 50,000 years ahead of me, how you talking about I still gotta suffer from parasites and suffer from all the conventional methods and things that happen to us now in the present, but I'm 50,000 years ahead of you? So you're telling me in 50,000 years we still haven't solved those discrepancies? Come on, gang. Some they trying to trick bag us somewhere with something, but it's all coming out, man.
Dying out. So what they knew they needed to basically perpetuate their civilization was viable human DNA, which didn't exist anymore in their reality. But they used their advanced technology to tunnel into parallel realities, to shift into parallel worlds like
Sounds like he's rapping good and spitting some good words, but it's not making sense, gang.
ours, parallel versions of Earth that exist simultaneously with theirs.
I'm not saying that we don't have parallel universes. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is these beings clearly, you had to travel to get to them, right? And they if they still having problems where they need our help, then how advanced are they?
Where viable human DNA was still existing. And to use that DNA through the abduction experiences to create hybrid beings from their DNA and our DNA so that their civilization would continue, would survive. So the hybrid civilizations, like Bashar's people, are actually the result of those abduction experiences.
What? It is out of Area 51 that the tape we are about to show you was supposedly smuggled.
On Friday, July 26, 1996, the offices of Rocket Pictures, a producer-distributor of motion pictures and television programs, received a phone call. a male voice, identifying himself only as Victor, claimed to be in possession of a videotaped interview with an extraterrestrial being. Tom Coleman, president of Rocket Pictures, was intrigued enough to take the call.
I, of course, thought this was some hoax. In fact, I thought it might have even been my brother at one point. But as we spoke, this was someone who seemed to be very serious. We went back and forth on this, and I basically decided that, you know, this is a little bit too weird for me. Thank you and goodbye. As I hung up, I had a very strange feeling that maybe, just maybe, there was something here. He said he had a tape of a space alien, an ET, that was being held in a
you don't believe him? You think he capped him?
Installation in Nevada. I'm not sure as a prisoner or a guest. And he had this on tape.
Are the inconsistencies between various tales coming out of Area 51 evidence that these stories are lies? Or are the discrepancies the result of an intentional campaign of disinformation designed to discredit any elements of truth that may be reaching the public?
If so, how does Victor fit into the jigsaw puzzle of questionable witnesses to the alien presence at Area 51? Is he a hoaxer? A government dupe?
Let me tell y'all something. Back in the days, y'all, when they was first trying to disclose everything, these are one of those clips right here from one of those older disclosure type of videos. I know a lot of people was looking at this edit like, what the hell? This is how I used to look, y'all. For all of y'all that's like young, alive now, and you see how clear we got the videos and all that, it wasn't like that before, y'all. It used to look just like this.
Or a frightened whistleblower with the hard evidence to back up his story?
I made it very clear to Victor that his credibility was the entire issue here, and that everybody's going to think this is a hoax, and that how are they going to possibly verify this? What he said was, you can do anything you want in terms of verified, any type of due diligence. He will answer whatever questions put forward. We could do whatever type of checking. We could bring in experts. We could have the tape tested. We could...
See, that's one thing that I realized through this whole ordeal of being a truth seeker and being someone to uncover the truth. I really realized that you need the truth in order to tell a lie, gang. You need the truth. Without the truth, it won't even be a good story. It won't even be engaging. The truth has to be in it in order for it to be engaging. And this is what you got to pay attention to.
In fact, he encouraged all of these.
Yeah, because he got the truth. He got facts.
Did not want his face and his real name revealed.
At Coleman's insistence, Victor agreed reluctantly to appear on camera, but only in disguise, in shadow, and with his voice electronically altered. The questions were agreed upon in advance, but during the actual interview, the discussion occasionally deviated from Victor's approved questions.
Fox, you could only record an event by thinking of it. Now, theoretically, we believe we can take a videotape magnetic camera into the time zone and photograph Lincoln's Gettysburg Address or Caesar's armies marching or anything that's ever happened.
Let me get this straight. In other words, you're telling me, like H.G. Wells imagined 50 years ago, that everything that happened in time is still there to be seen by the recreation electronically of a thought which exists.
Jack, you know how you talk into a tape on a tape recorder and play the interruptions back, identical to the play that you made.
What?
The Earth's magnetic field is the same way. You can put interruptions into it and play them back out of it. An associate of ours in creating a magnetic coupler with this principle coupled in the Earth's magnetic field and played back TV shows from stations that aren't even in business anymore.
You mean an experiment
That's crazy.
has been done to bring out of the air television programs which have been and gone?
Been and gone.
Now, where was this experiment conducted?
It was conducted in Santa Monica by an associate of mine.
That's
Why
crazy.
hasn't this hit the headlines throughout the world as that's a time machine in action? If I can...
Jack,
Yeah, that's definitely some type of time machine in action. Wouldn't you agree?
As I understand it now, the Navy Department took him and the research over because he also discovered he could bounce magnetic echoes off the ionosphere and locate submarines under the ocean, regardless of where they were. So
who is this associate of yours?
This is a fellow.
Now, you know something, he said that ionosphere. When he say that, he's, it resonates with me a little different because I used to talk on the CB radio and I used to send a lot of signal through the ionosphere and I used to chill up there for hours, gang, for years. I've been talking on the CB since I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? I still got my whole base station with a whole bunch of extra shit. But yeah, he's saying that they got it trapped up there and we can like look at it back sort of like the internet. He kind of basically broke down something like the internet. That's what he basically broke down. He broke down YouTube just now. That was crazy.
A fellow named Charlie.
In the past, though.
Arts.
Charlie Arts?
Yeah.
And is he a free man walking around today?
Well, he's free where he is in this box. You could only record an event by thinking of it. Now, theoretically, we believe we can take a videotape magnetic camera into the time zone and photograph.
Have you heard of Project Serpo?
Project Serpo.
So this was an agreement between us and the aliens.
Okay.
There was a crash, right? It happened in a famous town, I think Roswell, right? And one alien survived that we found.
Oh,
right?
shit.
But 3 of them died.
Yeah.
Right? So we took that one alien and we put it in an incubator and we made sure he has to fix the communication device to his hometown. He didn't do it.
Mais vídeo das criaturas de Miami é divulgado.
Holy shit, it's fucking hiding.
Take a look at what they found in the Grand Canyon. You know the 20-foot tall Grand Canyon people that the wedding couple found earlier this week that scared them away? Well, this is the creature. It is an unidentified creature. It's known to be very violent. It seems that we don't know any more information that it came from an asteroid or a UFO.
That's crazy.
Wake the fuck up.
Wake up. Now, peep Old Testament map of ancient America. Hold up. Alright, so peep, right? I had zoomed in.
Wake up. Wake up.
So, what if this what it really was, bro? And if anything, right? This would really make sense. You wanna know why? Because what's in this area? Washington, D.C. Oh my God!
Watch his eyes.
Yeah, they made this trying to emulate something. They trying to say something when you seen this and you could recarve it. That's what I'm saying. When they get images like whoa, did you see the eyes?
Watch his eyes.
Nah, look at his eyes, gang. Look at his eyes.
Watch his eyes.
Nah, did y'all see that though? Am I bugging? Did y'all see that? Look at his eyes. That's crazy.
We got to this high point. I was taking video camera, and I had actually turned to the north, which just kind of slopes down. And right there was something that stuck out like a sore thumb, especially with jungle terrain, things like that, vegetation, very green stuff. was something that stuck out so well. It's always going to be basically imprisoned in my mind for the rest of my life, and it has been for 14 years, was something that was rotating, and it was transitioning between colors like a light matte gray as well as a dark matte black. So in between, that's what it kept, and it was very smooth. We had all looked at each other as we got online, and we decided to investigate. The further thing I want to say is that I actually took pictures and video of this before we actually trucked down. We had a dump pouch where we basically, if we expend ammunition, we want to retain our magazines, so we put those there. So I dropped my camera in there, and we decided to go down. We didn't have any communications, which was weird, and that was a very odd thing, and it's something that either could have been good that we didn't, or it could have been something that could have been very bad. And it just however you want to look at that. Once we got down this slope, we were approximately 150 meters away from this craft. When we all got to the point where we could see it, just like behind here, again, Mr. Schratt, phenomenal job. You can see that the craft here actually was roughly about 300 feet. And the reason why I know this is because you could fit 3 of the helicopters that we flew in on underneath this craft. It was rotating a clockwise motion. The panels here that you see, the black ones, at least 3 of them, was like a Vanta black, very dark. I have no idea what that was. On the very top, there was like a pyramid structure that you could see the shadowing of it, which would elicit that was a pyramid structure. And it had an audible hum to it, kind of like a guitar amp if you were to unplug that, or like a transformer. It's very audible. If I was to hear that sound again, I could tell you, okay, it's probably this thing or something similar to that.
تخيلوا معي انه النجم نكونوا عاملين معاهدة مع الكائنات الفضائية.
Watch these 2 separate events, and you tell me if they are the same.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
This is why I kind of don't want to move to Miami, because I would trip out if I came outside to the beach and seen this. Now look at these colors.
Bro, what the? What? Why isn't my phone focusing?
That was a deep dive, though. That surely was a deep dive. Kind of look like the same things. The connection will be made soon.
What do you think?
Remember this guy?
This video has been posted on the dark web under the title, The Exclusive Truth of the Dark Web. The name itself says a lot. What are we to understand with this video? And what are these strange things? The problem with dark web videos is that they are posted anonymously, so it's impossible to know more, but the end will reveal a terrible thing.
This is this is crazy. Look at these motherfuckers. Look like trolls or something. I don't know. Crazy stuff on the dark web, I'll tell you that.
I'm going to tell you a number of things, but you really only have to remember 2 words. Governments lie. Very important to remember. Governments lie. I mean, not just the American government. Governments in general lie. Now, when I say all governments lie, that may sound like an anarchist statement. The anarchist
Mientras estuvieron ahí,
La aterradora fotografía que fue tomada por un granjero a un real y auténtico.
Guys, this is a terrifying video from the dark web. It shows what I'll call Yahtzees from World War II.
That's crazy though, because this is 1944 right here, gang. Look at this quality.
To use
Check it
some
out.
sort of, I don't even know how to describe it. Dark power, otherworldly power, something along those lines. Whatever it is, it's terrifying. 1944, they lost the war. 1945. So you tell me what you think. I'll see you in the next one.
It's not even possible. Like, how did they know that Mars was the red planet, and why was it a worldwide fact? Saturn had rings.
Yeah.
Based upon what information? Because nobody worldwide is disagreeing. This is that thing that you see that all the Anunnaki guys that have that look like a wristwatch, and they always have it, and you're always trying to see what that is.
Yeah, what is that?
It is
never
a
realized
time, it's a compass. It's a time-keeping compass. And the emerald tablets of Thoth are literally mind-changing and mind-blowing. It's given in first person, and that's not possible. The things that are being said are impossible. Enough time has passed, though, that it's not like that. He literally says, hey, there's a spaceship on Earth, and this is where it is.
Yeah, that's crazy. We got to get into. But this is what I'm saying. Hold on. This is what I'm saying. How they saying we can't explore the bottom of the sea? He clearly just went to the bottom of the sea with Google Maps. Y'all check this shit out. What is this though? Diving down here. We didn't even have to get wet to see. That's crazy.
I'm Josh Risling, I'm 18 years old, and this is my first werewolf transformation.
Great, thank you.
Alright, what we got here?
How long have we got now?
10 seconds. Any last minute questions? No. Great, just relax. You're going to be fine. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Moon rise.
Nothing's happening.
Is he turned to a werewolf, y'all?
You will begin to see situations of inferior craft, not real UFOs, inferior craft they will say, we don't know what this is, but they know good and well what it is. And you'll see that these things are going to be shooting at ships and look appearance that they might be attacking a military base. That gives them the authority now to come to the American people and say, hey, we're rerouting $20 trillion to this Space Force because we know we need it now. Because we got to stop these aliens from killing us and attacking our bases. You see, now, how does that make them money? The government got smart. They stopped doing all the inventions and all the technology themselves, because once they developed the technology themselves, they had to give you the FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act, where you can pull down the records and see exactly what they're doing. So now they subcontract out all the work to Lockheed Martin, Skunk Works, and all these places, right? Northrop Grumman. So you can't see what the hell's going on. You have no clue what's out there. I'm here to tell you the technology is 300 years ahead of whatever you can dream of. 300, not 40, not 50, not 100, 300. Whatever you can think, whatever you can imagine in your mind, whatever you can conjure up and think based on whatever sci-fi movie you saw before, I'm here to tell you it already exists. It already exists.
And let's take that to the bank.
Here's a book that's banned by the church, and it says there are 3 kinds of humans, and which one you are indicates how...
Wait a minute. Did he just say that there are 3 types of humans? What?
Close you are to escaping the material world. First up, we have the Hylics, or the material humans. These kinds of humans are obsessed with the physical world and the here and now. According to the Tripartite Tractate, these kinds of people are going to return to the physical world again and again in a cycle of reincarnation. The second kind are called the Psychics, and not psychics like reading minds or predicting the future, but as in thinkers, people who think about themselves and existence. They're on the fence, caught between the physical world and something more. Third, we have the Pneumatics, or the Soul Seekers. These are the kinds of humans who are connected to the spiritual and the divine, always looking for deeper meaning and cosmic truths. They see past the illusion of the material world, and their souls are on the way to liberation. The big question is, which one are you?
Trillion-ton iceberg, which we're just hearing has broken off Antarctica.
Sudden burst of solar activity, which melted down those ice sheets, but that's not what I go with.
"38 people disappeared overnight while headed from Chile to Antarctica."
Locked in away ice,
What?
Antarctica guards mysteries that might just rewrite the story of our past and shake up everything we thought we knew. A former naval officer and a journalist have shared shocking stories on how they discovered an entrance to a secret alien base containing UFOs in Antarctica. How did this naval flight engineer Brian discover this secret alien base? How is the world power trying to hide it from the entire planet? Join us on this intriguing journey as we explore the terrifying truths of the US terrifying claim that aliens are hiding in Antarctica. The Naval Officer's Revelation. In January 2015, investigative reporter Linda Moulton Howe stumbled upon a mysterious Antarctic tale when she got an email from Brian, a retired US naval flight engineer with a wild story from his time in Antarctica in the 80s and 90s. Brian dropped a bombshell, claiming he saw some seriously strange stuff during his 4,000 flight hours over Antarctica.
Naval flight engineer. He's asked me to call him only Brian.
The juiciest part of the story is that he stumbled upon a massive, perfect circle carved into the Antarctic ice sheet, leading to a glowing cave entrance below. But here's where it gets even weirder. When Brian tried to get closer, all the gadgets in his aircraft went haywire, and they had to do an emergency restart. After that encounter, shady authorities confiscated records and gave Brian and his crew the silent treatment. Intrigued by the craziness of Brian's story, Linda dug deeper.
Something archaeological in Antarctica.
Brian later spilled the beans on what went down. In 1987, during a resupply flight out of McMurdo Station, Brian and his crew got last-minute orders to pick up something from a remote campsite in Antarctica's interior. When they arrived, they found the camp trashed and deserted, with no sign of human activity anywhere. This creepy scenario kicked off a string of disappearances at Antarctic stations. Odd radio bursts in strange languages popped up before each disappearance, coming from some unknown source deep under the ice. As the crew got jittery, Brian's co-pilot spotted a big shiny craft silently cruising past their cockpit. It was like something out of a sci-fi movie. A white...
We're talking about power outages along with a purge. They're going to come in, they're going to take you out of your home, and they're going to put you into a military vehicle or whatever, a van, and drive you away and place you into a camp. It is a very, very big operation that they're planning. It is millions of Americans They will do it under the cover of night, under the cover of blackness, during one of these planned blackouts. The blackouts are based on documents. I'm just looking at it right now. They have a 3-day blackout. They have a nationwide blackout that lasts 2 days, and a lot of localized blackouts. So it is a whole series of blackouts that they're going to do. And of course, it will be blamed on all kinds of things. They might blame it on Iran. I have seen that mentioned in the documents. They've already prepped people for this. There are going to be more blackouts. They're already predictive programming. So we may see more of this as we go on. As far as I can tell from Project Zypher, they are planning this next year and the year after. They are not done tagging, tracking, and identifying everyone. It looks like they're at about 78%. I looked in the documents, and there were a couple of indications of how far along they feel the project is. They're like 78% done, but they're not completely done. It does take time to identify a YouTube account and then track it to the email that it was created with, and then the IP address, and then find out who created it. It does take them a lot of time to do that. It is not instant. It does take a lot of research, because a lot of people create a YouTube account with an email address that doesn't give any indication of who they are, an account name that doesn't have their full name on it. They don't use their real pictures. So it is a challenge for them, and that's why the project has been going on for so long. But it is coming to a close. In the next 6 months to a year, it appears it is coming to a close, and that is when Project Serpo will be initiated. So I have some notes here. I'm going to continue on, talk a little bit more about they're being tracked, they're being identified. That's the whole point. A lot of people have said, well, why are some of these YouTube channels allowed to exist? Why are they allowed to so openly talk about the truth? And some of you might know Adam Green, No More News, and there are a whole bunch of others, and they're very, very open about Zionism, and they're very honest about it, and they're telling the truth. I mean, they are telling the truth. They're not hiding anything. They're not disinfo. They're not putting disinfo out there. But as far as I know, they're all a part of this operation. I can't say specifically if Adam Green is a part of it or not, but I would assume possibly he is. He has probably been guaranteed a lot of money. He's probably been promised a lot of things. He could be a Freemason. He could be a part of their operation. He could be an agent. I don't know. I have no idea. It is total speculation on my part. I have no idea. All I know is this is part of the operation, what they want to do. His channel would fit into the MO. It is an example I'm giving. He is there to tag, track, and ID. Not him specifically, but the people behind the operation who are doing all the research and all the people who are commenting and viewing and liking. They want to know who they are. They want to know where they live, and they are going to eliminate them.